Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. For today's video, we have 15 NBA stars who need to change teams this NBA offseason. So this is an article by Michael DeRosa, and basically, I'm going to go through all 15 of these stars right here. I'm going to see if I agree or disagree with Michael here, and if I agree or disagree, I'm going to give you guys my reason why, why they would be a good fit or not a good fit on that team anyway. So let's get it going right here. Number one, we have Avery Bradley to the San Antonio Spurs. I'm going to say straight up, guys, if there was ever a team that Avery Bradley was supposed to play for, it would be the San Antonio Spurs. Just his style of basketball, his cutting to the basket, his defensive abilities, he would be the perfect shooting guard to put alongside Kawhi Leonard. He just seems like such a good fit. I mean, he would be like a third option of that team. You have Kawhi Leonard, LaMarcus Aldridge, then of course Avery Bradley as your third option. And all of a sudden, that team is looking pretty damn good out there. Not to mention, like, Greg Popovich is a coaching genius, and Avery Bradley is a very knowledgeable basketball player. So he would just know exactly how to utilize him the best, and Avery Bradley would know how to, like, listen to Popovich and do exactly what he's told out there. So I absolutely love this, guys. Yes, Avery Bradley definitely needs to go to the Spurs. Next up, we have DeAndre Jordan of the Philadelphia 76ers. This one I never really thought about. I mean, they already have Joel Embiid, so I guess if you shift Joel to the power forward position, which, with his skill set, his abilities to, shoot the three-pointer, shoot the mid-range shot, post up, Joel could definitely play the power forward position. So it would be very interesting, though, just because, like, Joel is, like, a 7'1" center himself, so putting that power forward with DeAndre as center, I'm not quite sure how that would work out. I don't know if this is the best fit for DeAndre Jordan. It's a very interesting fit, and I would be very curious to see how it would all play out, but I definitely want your guys' opinions on this one. DeAndre Jordan to the 76ers, is that a W or an L in your own opinion? All right, next we have Derrick Rose and the Miami Heat. So I actually talked about this one before. I did a video talking about NBA teams that Derrick Rose would be a nice fit on. And, if he would be willing to be like a backup point guard on the team, that would be okay. Definitely not for a star, just because Goran Dragic, of course, is an all-star this NBA season. So why would you want to, replace him with Derrick Rose? But, the thing about this, though, is that Dion Waiters would need to be a bench player. The reason I say that is because Dwayne Wade and Derrick Rose, they cannot play in the backcourt together. So, like, if Dwayne Wade is going to continue coming off the bench, well, you have D-Wade, Derrick Rose going into the game with each other. It didn't work out in Cleveland. It's not going to work out on the Miami Heat. Both guys cannot shoot the basketball all that well, or at least not very consistently. It's like, yeah, they can knock down threes sometimes, but that's a shot you're definitely going to give them, if you're the defender out of them. So, yeah, this one, I don't know if I totally agree with it. It depends how they would utilize, Dwayne Wade with Derrick Rose. It would be nice to see, but I think I'd rather see Derrick Rose, go to a team like the Timberwolves and maybe be a backup point guard on that squad. So, I don't know, man. Interesting to think about. Not sure it's the best fit. Next up, we have, Kevin Love on the Utah Jazz. Another one that would be a pretty good fit right there, because you think about the team, you'd have Ricky Rubio, point guard, Donovan Mitchell, small forward, probably Jay Crowder, although they also have Joe Ingles, but I feel like either one of those guys who could be the sixth man of that team. Kevin Love, who would be like a perfect stretch forward to go alongside Rudy Gobert. All of a sudden, that is definitely a playoff team, because Donovan Mitchell's already playing like a freaking all-star. So, going into the next NBA season, because you hear about, like Kevin Love too. I've heard about him going to the Warriors or going to the Boston Celtics, maybe even, I don't know, man. I didn't really hear about the Utah Jazz, but I do, now that I think about this, that's a really good fit, so I'd actually love to see that. All right, next up we have Isaiah Thomas, Chicago Bulls. So I actually talked about this one a few videos ago, and people kind of disagree with me about it. But I think about it like this. You guys have Chris Dunn. I understand that. That's like your future point guard right there. But Chris Dunn is still very young. As far as like him as far as him being a great player right now on an NBA contending team, he just can't be that type of player as of right now. So what I'm thinking is he comes on a team as a sixth man. You bring in Isaiah Thomas to be your starting point guard, who we know as the man of a team could put up 30 points per game. You have Isaiah Thomas with Zach LaVine in the backcourt. You got Lauri Markkanen, who can launch up them three-pointers. And you guys are also going to have a really good draft pick this season, which might be a guy like a Michael Porter. So all of a sudden, like, I don't know why people have the mentality that when you go into a rebuild, like, it's going to take you like freaking 5 to 10 years. That team right there, if you guys get Isaiah Thomas, that's a team that can make some noise in a weak Eastern Conference. Like, I absolutely love the idea of Isaiah Thomas going to the Bulls, and I'm not sure why people don't feel the same about that, because, just because Chris Dunn would go to the bench, it doesn't mean he wouldn't play. I mean, as a 6th or 7th man, he's still going to get a ton of minutes. So, I don't know, man. I just kind of like the look of that. And even at times, you could run some small ball with Zach LaVine at the small forward position and, put Chris Dunn or Isaiah Thomas at shooting guard. So, I don't know, man. I like that one a lot. Next up, we have DeMarcus Cousins to the Washington Wizards. So this has been an NBA rumor forever. I mean, I know that the Washington Wizards are probably sick of Marcin Gortat and his $60 million contract. I'm not quite sure how the financials would work out in this case, because like you're paying John Wall, you're paying, you know, Bradley Beal, you gotta pay Otto Porter his $100 million contract, so you would definitely need to shed that contract, I believe, somehow. And they do have Kelly Oubre on the team, so I feel like if you got rid of Otto Porter, then you could, you know, start Kelly Oubre, who has been playing fantastic for them, at least last time I checked. And yeah, DeMarcus Cousins would definitely give, you know, Bradley Beal and John Wall the best center they'd ever play with. I mean, he's the best center in the NBA. So, and I feel like they could probably get him for pretty cheap on like 1 or 2 year deal contract, just because like he is coming off a bad injury. So I can see that happening. Next up, we have Tyreke Evans of the New York Knicks. So Tyreke Evans has just completely changed his game. I mean, when he first came to the NBA, guys, he could not shoot a lick out there, and now he's like one of the best three-point shooting guards in the NBA. I'm not quite sure how he would fit on this team, because you do have Tim Hardaway as shooting guard. I guess Tim Hardaway or Tyreke could play the small forward position. You know, you have Frank Ntilikina or, you know, Emmanuel Mudiay at point guard, who handles the basketball a lot themselves, or at least would need to do that. So, Tyreke on the Knicks, I mean, sure, why not? I mean, sure, it's a good fit, I suppose. It's not like a game-changing fit, but it's just nice, I guess. I'd much rather see him go to like the Boston Celtics and be like a 6-man on that team. But you know what? New York Knicks, why not? Take Tyreke Evans. All right, next up we have Marc Gasol to the Toronto Raptors. This was another big-time rumor that was going on during the trade deadline era, and that was just like, you know, Marc Gasol to the Raptors in exchange for Valanciunas and maybe a draft pick or something along those lines. He just seems like a nice fit, you know. He's got really good defense. He can shoot the 3-ball out there, can stretch it out for guys like DeMar DeRozan. So yeah, this seems like a nice fit. So we'll see if that actually does happen. I do expect during the offseason for Marc Gasol and Mike Conley to both be off the team. Next up, we got Kemba Walker, Detroit Pistons. So guys, guess what? I just did a Detroit Pistons rebuild, a realistic rebuild, and I signed Kemba Walker because I feel like this is a great fit. Now, Michael Jordan wants to get an all-star back for Kemba. That's not going to happen. Next season, he's going to be on a 1-year contract. No team is going to give up a ton of assets for a player that is going to be on the free agent market the following season. Now, I feel like the Pistons could offer some sort of package of maybe, you know, Reggie Jackson. He'll be on a 2-year deal at that point. It's not that big a deal. John Lure, that'll be some money off the books. And maybe a future first-round draft pick. I feel like I would probably do that as a Pistons fan. Maybe not the draft pick. I feel like you just had to toss that in. Like, being an all-star player and being a team like Detroit that doesn't really get all-stars all that often via, you know, free agency, the best way you got to do it is trades and draft picks and stuff like that. So, yeah, Kemba Walker, the Detroit Pistons, I would definitely want him on the squad. All right, next up we have Carmelo Anthony to the Timberwolves. I disagree with this one. I disagree. I mean, I guess he could play the power forward position, but all of a sudden you got Karl Anthony Towns and you have Carmelo Anthony as your front court, and that's just like not great defensively. I don't like this trade. I don't like this signing. This one doesn't really make much sense to me at the power forward position, just because like you already have Andrew Wiggins, who doesn't get. I guess that Andrew Wiggins does take a lot of shots. He's just not really been very consistent lately. But yeah, you already have like your big time scorers on the team anyway, so I don't like this. No, I'm gonna say no. Paul George to the Los Angeles Lakers. So yeah, it's no doubt it is going to be a bidding war between the OKC Thunder and the Los Angeles Lakers for the services of Sir Paul next NBA season. I thought it was really funny actually, because like the Lakers were playing the Thunder and the Lakers fans were saying like, we love Paul, just like serenading him into joining their team. And then like the following home game, Paul George went back to the OKC Thunder and like they were saying how much they loved him too and stuff. So I don't know, man, it was actually pretty funny to see. And I definitely see Paul George being split about this decision, but we'll see what happens. Just because like it's no doubt that Russell Westbrook is like the best player that's available on both those teams for Paul George to team up with and play with. Now, if the Lakers can manage to get another superstar / all-star type of player, then I'm sure Paul George would listen even more. Or maybe he just wants to be the man of the Lakers. He just wants to do it all himself, which is also fine. So we'll see how that all works out. Seth Curry to the Golden State Warriors. You all want to talk about the Splash Bros? This would be the legit Splash Bros. Seth Curry, Stephen Curry. I do think that Seth Curry was actually once on the Warriors team. He didn't play like at all. But sure, why not? That'd be kind of fun to see. It'd be fun to see, you know, two brothers like that play on the same team with Steph and Steph. So, I think that'd be fun. We got JJ Redick going back to the Orlando Magic. I mean, he had a few, you know, really good seasons there. I don't like this signing just because like JJ Redick does bring a lot to an NBA team. You know, he can get you about 15 to 16 points per game. Has the 3-ball, which is more valuable than ever in this NBA era. I'd much rather see him go to a contending team. We got LeBron James to the Houston Rockets. Okay, so I know a lot of LeBron James fans are not going to like this one. At the making of this video, LeBron has played one game with his new squad against the Boston Celtics and blew them out. So, depending how the season goes, like if the team does lose like first round of the playoffs or something like that, or even in the Eastern Conference Finals, I do see LeBron James leaving, and yes, Houston Rockets are a really good fit. I mean, that's the super team he would need to contend with the Golden State Warriors going forward. So I guess I feel like if there's any good fit, the best fit would probably be the Houston Rockets, unless he wants to go back to Cleveland, which I would totally also respect. And finally, we have Anthony Davis to the Boston Celtics. So I'm not quite sure how they would make this work, because like they're paying Kyrie, they got Al Horford out there, they got Gordon Hayward. So I'm not quite sure how this would work out here though, guys. But yeah, if the Boston Celtics got Anthony Davis, you know, they got a decade of Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving together with Gordon Hayward, that team is going to be unstoppable in the Eastern Conference. Like, they're going to be scary good out there. I don't know if I see Anthony Davis ever leaving the Pelicans or anytime soon. He just signed that max extension, so a lot of things would need to happen for this to actually, you know, work out. As far as the fit goes, it does make sense, you know, if he wants to go to a contending team. And also, the Boston Celtics have been looking for a dominating big man for a very long time. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about all these right there. What are some other NBA superstars / all-stars, even role players that you think should go to a certain NBA team? Thank you all so much for watching, and peace out, my friends.